So welcome everyone. We are starting our first online workshop from our knowledge sharing journey. You are all welcome. Thank you for being with us today. To start our session, I will invite Raul, who is the project coordinator for BIOPAMA in the Pacific, to give us the welcome and opening remarks. Raul, over to you.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you so much, colleagues. I would like to, first of all, show my warm appreciation for all of you that have joined today for this very interesting session that we have today, the online workshop for the BEST and the BIOPAMA knowledge sharing workshop. And then we'll, of course, have another one next week. I have a lot of excitement in me to let you know that this workshop is not just something that we're doing it for the sake of doing it. This is going to help you, and we are getting all these different experts from the different projects, whether it's BEST or BIOPAMA. We are getting everyone here together to listen to you, to hear, and make it an exclusive, an inclusive rather, a session where we listen to you, we understand, we share knowledge and information. So this is the building blocks, this is the starting, and we are excited about this. I also would like to show my appreciation on behalf of the organizing team for all those from the region. It's around 2 p.m. in Numia, 5 p.m. in Papiti, and it's around 3:15 in Suva. So all those participants who have checked in from different parts of the Pacific region to be part of this workshop. As Maria mentioned, my name is Rahul. I'm based here in Suva at IUCN Oceania office as the BIOPAMA coordinator. And I work very closely with some of the grantees that are here today participating in this workshop. I would like to very briefly talk about the two projects or the two programs that we are talking about. The first is BEST 2.0 Plus, is part of the Be for Life flagship initiative, which supports field actions for protection of biodiversity in the EU, overseas countries and territories. The BEST 2.0 Plus program provides grant funding for small-scale field actions for biodiversity, conservation and sustainable development in the EU, overseas countries and territories. The Biodiversity and Protected Areas Management Program, BIOPAMA, assists the African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries to address their priorities for improved management and governance of biodiversity and natural resources. BIOPAMA provides a variety of tools, services, and funding to conservation actors in the African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. Now, just want to also talk about a little bit about this initiative, why we are all gathered here, and then we'll have another session next week on the 26th rather, and then the physical meeting in Nairobi. The initiative, BEST and BIOPAMA Global Knowledge Sharing Journey. The purpose is to promote learning and knowledge sharing opportunities between grantees from both programs, BEST 2.0 and BIOPAMA Action Component, together with IUCN grant management teams, and produce communication products that demonstrate the results achieved, good practices, and lessons learned from the grant's implementation. So the idea is to see what are some of the good lessons, and not always only the good lessons, things that we can learn from, some things that didn't happen the way we wanted to. So we are going to get together and listen to each other's stories and see how we can move forward and how we can improve implementation of similar projects in the region. Thank you so much. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you very much. So to start, we would like to know more about you and what are your expectations today. So let's do a short check-in. which is a short presentation. There is two ways you can do that. Either you can answer our question through the chat and type directly your message and contribution through the chat, or you can use our Google Doc. What is the Google Doc? Basically, it's a Word document, but it's online, which allows everyone to type their question and their comments and inputs in the same time. So you can give your input and also read the other's contribution. The question is now, share with us your name, where are you calling from, where your feet touch the ground, and answer the question. Let me just repeat here. Mahi also put in the chat. Please share your name, where your feet touch the ground, and respond to the question. What is exciting you about the knowledge sharing journey? Let's repeat. Take a deep breath. Share your name, where your feet touch the ground, and respond to the question. What is exciting you about the knowledge sharing journey? Mahi just shared the Google Doc. If you click, you go directly to there. I'm also sharing here my screen, so you can also see how we are going to do the notes in the Google Doc. And in the Google Doc, we have English and French version. I see that some colleagues are already answering that. So look here. This is our harvest document. If you have the menu in the left side, here is the check-in. So share your name, where your feet touch the ground, and what is exciting you about the knowledge sharing journey. I see some colleagues already answering here. Please. We have around 5 minutes, and when you finish to write your contribution, you can read the other's contribution as well. If you feel comfortable, you can also send your contribution in the chat, okay? Welcome, Noel.
Yeah, thanks.
So now we can, if you finish, you can also read the contribution from your colleagues and see. It's very, very nice to see that you are all excited to be together, to learn from what we could do differently or what we could do better and improve, even explore things outside the box. Meeting new people from all over the world, learning from them, finding new solutions about what we can do. Together we can go further, learning from each other, and maybe what else? Learning from other colleagues, how they are progressing in their projects, share experiences, do a network, build networks of practitioners, share our achievements, and why not celebrate them, right? Also learn from the challenges and the best practices. What else? Many, many interesting aspects you are bringing today. It's a journey, you're excited about that, learning from different people, from different countries. And just to remember, we are here just the Pacific team from BEST and BIOPAMA, but during our journey, we are going to meet all colleagues from Caribbean, from Polar, South Atlantic, Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and our colleagues in Europe. So we'll be a very global team. We are even going to share a little bit of the profile of these participants with you. So now, after our checking, I will share my screen and share with you some etiquette about how we hope you can consider. It's not rules, it's more about what we expect about our behaviors, allowing us to be together with presence here in our meeting. So first thing is that we are inviting you for a journey. And in the journey, the idea is that you leave your country, you leave your daily work and your enormous to-do list, even the responsibilities that you have at home with your family, and travel with us to reflect on your own experience and think about what you have been done in your project and how you can improve it. So the first suggestion is slow down and take this time and the quality of this time to think and reflect. We always do so many things. We are very busy with our work, doing day by day, and very few times and opportunities we can stop everything to just think and reflect. So please consider this big opportunity that we are inviting all of you to slow down and have a time to think and reflect on your work, on your practice, and see ways that you can improve the way you are doing your business. Secondly, we are here to share, and this is a very participatory workshop, very horizontal workshop. So please listen to understand. Try to understand what was behind, what was the motivation. Try to understand what your colleagues are trying to say beyond the words. And do not judge. This is not about right or wrong. This is not a debate. This is a dialogue, a conversation, where we are trying to understand each other to improve the way we are doing our job. Contribute with your thinking. So bring really your thoughts on that. And when you are going to talk and speak and participate, bring your own thinking and focus on what matters. I know sometimes we can see that, 5 days traveling is too much. And I know from Pacific, we are going to take 2 days to reach Nairobi. So it's a huge time. So let's focus on what matters. When you're talking, when you're going, when you're participating, focus on what really matters. And when you are talking and listen and learning, try to link and connect ideas. It's very important that when you hear the story of others, link with your own experiences from this project and other experiences in your life, and try to connect ideas so you can go deeper in the reflection and you can see deeper about all these experiences. But don't forget, we are all human beings. So when you speak with your mind and your heart, because we know all this experience is not just like a formal environment. We are also need to talk about with our hearts. And listen together and try to identify some patterns, insights, and try to do deeper connections with the ideas and with the colleagues that you have in the groups. And don't forget, we are here also. So we hope you have fun during our journey. So this is basically some etiquettes that we hope we can keep in mind. So we will be very present with our group. And remember to, in terms of netiquette, I think you can close everything in your computer, use just Zoom and Google Doc. This will help you to save some bandwidth, but in the same time, this allows us to be present with yourself and also with others. Okay? So please just say for me, all is fine so far. Thank you. Okay, so now I will give you 2 or 3 slides about our journey. We are embarking in a very global knowledge sharing journey from both BEST and BIOPAMA grant mechanisms. We have long way to travel together, and let's see who is traveling with us. Like I said before, here is just the Pacific group, but we have many participants. So we did many questions for you during the registration, because we want to see more or less who are coming, the profile of these professionals that are joining us. So we can see we have around 55, 56 participants confirmed, and around 20 professionals from IUCN from the different regions. What is the big difference is that IUCN staff is not coming just as organizer. They are also coming as participants. While you are coming and bring your experience at project level, IUCN team is coming and bringing their experiences as project manager from the grant mechanism. So for example, Alex, Christina, Noel, and the whole team in BEST are going to document and reflect on the BEST grant mechanism. Why? They want to improve the next BEST that is starting the summer, let's say second semester, so they can bring some lessons and good practice and improve the new grant mechanisms. And the same for BIOPAMA team, who are going to document their own experiences of 4 different grants projects, small grants, technical grants for assessment, medium grants, and rapid grants, so they can bring these inputs for new BIOPAMA and new grant mechanisms at IUCN level. So saying that, our participants, we have around 51% that is in between 31 and 45 years old, and 28% that is between 46 and 60. Quite good balance. And in the terms of gender, we have 57% of male participants and 42% of male participants. But don't worry, these graphs is just about participants on the register who did the registration form. But as a staff team, we are the big majority of women, so we will be probably 50-50 participants in the whole workshop. And as I said before, we are from many different regions. We are quite balanced. We have around 12 participants from Pacific. We have 10 participants from West Africa, 11 from Eastern Africa, 5 from Central Africa, and 9 from Southern Africa, and 1 from Poland. And we also have colleagues from Europe that are not counted here because they are part of the staff. And let's see, as I mentioned, we have two big grant mechanisms. So you either are part of the BEST program or BIOPAMA. However, BIOPAMA has more than one type of grant. They have 4 types of grants. So we have around 14 participants that received BIOPAMA medium grants, which is a big amount of resources for a long period, while you have 14 that are small technical grants, which is a bit shorter. You have 8 participants that received rapid response grants, which is the grant that was made available through IUCN for the COVID pandemic situation. You have around 10 participants from BEST and 10 participants from the technical assessment. So grants to do specific assessments for protected and conserved areas. We also asked what is your role and responsibility in the project. You use many different names. So you use project coordinator, project manager, project leader, project director, but we know that your role is to oversee the project as coordinator. But we also have some colleagues that come from the communication, from the monitoring evaluation part. And we also have some colleagues that are responsible, for example, for the financial management and the oversee of the project. And yeah, that's it. I think the big majority is coordination role, but you also have other different and important colleagues that are going to bring complementary perspectives about the grant management. We also asked about your social media presence because we want to make sure we can use the best channels to promote the results of this journey. So we are here to share knowledge, to share information, to learn from each other, but we also want to capitalize on your experience. What does it mean? That this information, this knowledge does not serve just for you, but also for others. So it's important to accomplish and produce some communication knowledge products that can be also used for external audience. Okay, so what are the steps that we are going through? Basically, I add in the visual different steps from our pathway, just for information that, of course, we create a concept note, a work plan. Just for you to know, the 56 grants that are coming is not the whole total grants. For example, BEST are coming 10 while you are 23. BIOPAMA has much more grantees, but they are in different levels. So we have to create some criteria to decide who is coming to this journey. And somehow you were in the first list of invitees to this first journey. And now we are in between packing our luggage and preparing ourselves in the online workshop. So you probably now are getting contact with your regional colleague to receive your letter for visa if you want one or if you need one. Also to book your flight and organize your documentation. We booked the hotel and so on. And now we are today in the workshop day 1, where the objective is for you to have an overview of the journey itself and how you have to prepare yourself, but also start sharing your stories, doing some network, knowing some colleagues, and get prepared for the in-person workshop that will be held in Nairobi in the first week of May. Basically, in the workshop, we have 5 days. It's a real workshop, so there is no experts coming to tell you anything. It's you, the most important participant and actor of this. You are the ones who are bringing the knowledge and the information. You are going to be invited to document your experience, taking notes of the best practice, lessons learned, what were the enabling factors that help you to achieve your results. So this is the documentation experience. And then we are learning together because we are sharing our stories, but we also have some sessions where you're going to share your knowledge and expertise. So we have some discussions, for example, on conservation species or in restoration of land and marine areas. We also have some discussions about protected areas management, protected areas governance, biodiversity monitoring, and so on. So we'll have a book of sessions where we are going to share technical information, but we also have another sessions where we are going to talk about project management, log frame and design, financial management, and communication visibility, for example. And we will take the opportunity also to celebrate your achievements and making use of it. So we have a field visit for National Park, Nairobi National Park. We are going to have a cocktail with a photo competition and so on. So during this process, we are going to invite you to use some methodologies to document your experience and make use of these lessons when you're back home. And hopefully you will be able with your team and organization to adapt and scale up some of these lessons and experiences, and probably share and promote your achievements and your lessons as well. So when we finish the journey, what are you bringing back home? So in your luggage, there are several opportunities of products that you can bring. So everyone is going through the methodology of Panorama Solution, and Marie is going to support us on that. In this session, she will give us a short introduction about Panorama Solution, which is the methodology that we are going to use to document the experience. As I mentioned, you, Grant, are going to do the Panorama Solution, and the project managers managing BIOPAMA and BEST are going to do a grant fact sheet to inform donors, IUCN, and other partners about the lessons about BEST and BIOPAMA. The small technical grants for assessment, if there is anyone here, we are aiming to design some infographics about the tools that you use it. So we are not promoting your own result, but we are putting you together to share the lessons about the use of these tools. You can also write some stories, so success stories about someone or some place. We also have a podcast with a collective product where we are going to invite some of the grants to have a dialogue, a circle, and exchange about some specific subjects. We are going to create a big photo album, but this is based on the photo competition. And we are also going to have the opportunity to record some video testimonials. So just to clarify for BEST projects, this is not specifically the one that the video Christina is inviting you. This is about everyone in the workshop doing their testimonials. Okay. I think I talked too much, and this is not the objective of today, but at least to give you an overview of what we are going to do and how we are going to work. So now we start the most interesting part and the funny one, I hope, which is basically we are going to do some small groups. So I will explain first the modality in the room, and then I will share the question later on. So you can concentrate first in the general instructions, and later Marie can share in the chat. So first, how does it work? We are in the main room now, and then you will have in your screen an invitation saying the hosts are inviting you to join the group 1. The host is inviting you to join the group 2. So you just accept and automatically you go to this room. When you arrive there, you can do a very short circle of presentation saying your name, your project, where are you calling from. And after that, each one of you will have 5 minutes to share your story, answering the question that we are going to share with you. Okay. When you do your part, you can also use a talking piece to say, it's my turn. When you finish, you return the talking piece in the center, and the second colleague can take it and share his story or her story. Try to host yourself and others. So make sure that everyone has the same amount of time to talk and speak. So it's around 5 minutes, okay? So you can moderate yourselves. And the third thing is that we wish you to take notes of what has been said. So let's say I am with Marie and Alex in a group. While I'm talking, Marie is typing my contribution. When Marie is talking, Alex is typing her contribution, and so on. So everyone has the opportunity to read afterwards what has been said and also improve what was written later on. And this will serve for you along the process. You can come back to these notes. Okay, so in terms of the way we are going to organize ourselves, is all clear? Please send me any reactions you see like this. You can use like this or visually. Thank you. So we have 20 minutes. Everyone has 5 minutes. You have to facilitate yourself. Just for information, what you put on the chat in the small group cannot be saved. So we are inviting you to take notes in the Google Doc. Okay? That's fine. So now, Marie and myself, we can talk about the question. So let's concentrate on the question now. Tell us a story when you successfully address a challenge with others and you are so proud of what you have accomplished. So all of you are working many challenges in conservation, biodiversity, so on. Choose one story where you face and address this challenge with others, could be colleagues or communities, and you are proud of what you accomplish. Tell us what happened, and most important, what made the success possible? What made you reach the results that you were expecting? Again, focus on what matters. We have just short time. Tell us a project story, and this is about your grant project story, when you successfully addressed a challenge with others and you are proud of what you accomplish. Tell us what happened, and most important, what made the success possible. You can sit with the question for one moment while we are inviting you slowly for the groups. Sit with the question and start to thinking your contribution. We will send some messages broadcast in the group about the time, and we are also going to copy the question there. And if you have any problem, you can consult the Google Doc. Marie, if you can copy again the Google Doc link, so who is not logging can join the Google Doc. Do you have any question about the work in groups? Vous avez des questions par rapport au travail en groupe? Si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à clarifier avant de partir. Je peux répéter en français si c'est nécessaire. C'est bon? Alex, c'est bon pour vous? Malheureusement, je ne vous entends pas parce que je ne suis pas dans le channel français maintenant. C'est bon, Alex? You need help? Okay. So here we go. 20 minutes and then we come back to the plenary. Remember, you don't need to do anything. We are going to close the breakout rooms and you come back immediately to the room. And in case you drop off, don't worry, just log in again and we will send you to the group again. If you have any internet connection issues, just come back to the meeting and we will help you. Okay? Welcome. Welcome back. I see some smiles. Je vois des sourires. Welcome back.
Thank
Je suis
you.
contente de vous revoir. Okay. We are more than 1 hour now sitting here. So let's just take a deep breath and maybe you want even to stretch a little bit. For some colleagues are 6 in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning. For some colleagues it's 6 in the evening. So let's just stretch a little bit. I just see my colleague Joyce doing Noel. Don't you want to stretch your body, Raul? Okay. So you have shared your stories in the group. Seulement pour les collègues qui sont francophones, une information importante. Notre interprète est arrivé. N'oubliez pas de choisir la langue française sur l'interprétation. Comme ça, vous allez entendre en français. I'm just saying for colleagues who are French speaker that I'm going to speak in English and our interpreter is available now and he's going to translate from English to French. So, now that you are back and that everything you heard is very fresh, I hope you had the opportunity to hear delicious stories from your colleagues. So let's take a short moment to reflect on what we have heard from ourselves and from other colleagues in this small group. Just take 30 seconds, 1 minute to reflect on what you heard. And we would like to invite you to raise your hand, even physically or using the reaction button below in the screen. And you can speak in English or in French, the language that you feel more comfortable. What did you notice in these stories? Which connections you can do with your own story? What stays with you? So we are not asking everyone to repeat what you said in the group. We are not asking you to report what has been shared in the group. We are asking you to go deeper on this reflection and think about, what did you notice? Is there any commonalities in the stories? There is any difference? There is something that you took attention, you noticed something special, something that you will bring with you in the near future. So think about that, and when you're ready, you can raise your hand. And if you prefer, you can also share on the chat. You can also type your contribution, okay? So if you speak in French, our interpreter is going to translate, so you just choose the channel English. So if someone is speaking French and you don't understand, you click in the global and he will translate. If you are speaking English, you need to understand in French. Okay, who wants to go first? What did you notice? What took your attention in the stories? My friend Joyce, do you want to start? Please.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry, I don't have let me just mute. You might hear the car leaving because I don't have a headphone with microphone, so there might be a little bit of noise there. But one thing that I saw that we had in common was working with our communities. In the local communities, there's always those sensitive information or data that we need to be, I guess, aware and often and respect that. There's also when we all experienced the COVID, And so it's really when everyone were really forced to really work with the technology that we have available. I myself learned about the Google Classroom and how convenient that can be. After a while, people started getting used to the virtual meetings, but that was also something that do. And then another thing about the reporting and working with, especially regionally, because we're the same here. So for like SPREP and also IUCN working throughout the Pacific, there's a need for regular meetings and things like that to be able to really communicate well and get things done. We share the same issues here in Palau because we have 16 states, some of them very far away, and working with all the states across the region, we face the same issues as and so we do have like our regular we have bi-weekly meetings, we have quarterly meetings that are so necessary in order for everyone to be on the same page and well informed. I guess that's sort of my take from the discussion.
Thank you very much, Joyce. Thank you very much. Noel and then Leon. Noel, please.
Thank you. I think from the breakout room, my take is we are working in same or similar project on conservation. The common thing that I've took from our discussion is working with the community. And then when it's come to conservation, we are engaging or we are looking at some of the assets that was owned by the community or the rural community members. And sometimes we meet forces from the communities because, you know, there are different land owning tenure system in different contexts. So I guess like from the discussion we had in a breakout room, my friend from Fiji, he was sharing they meet the force when they reach out to the community. Same thing was also happening with our team here. When we reach out to the community, there were differences among themselves. There was no understanding of getting into conservation. But we also try our best. The other thing is we always come back to the act. Even the government has a act that governs these conservation areas. So we also preach out this act of the law that was governed by the conservation area. So this is some of the similarities that we have both in Solomon and as well as in Fiji. But the great learning is how we deal with the people when it comes to land. I think land is one of the main asset by the people because that's where they live, that's where they live on. When you talk about the rural communities, that's they're living. So when we want to conserve that area, what are the alternative activities in terms of providing their livelihood, sustaining their livelihood? So this is some of the learnings that I've learned from our discussion. Though for my friend in Fiji, they already had this protected area. They are only assessing and managing the protected area. But for us, we are still in the process of acquiring the protected area. So it's a bit different, but the way we approach is almost the same. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Noel. Léon, vous voulez partager? Il faut ouvrir votre micro, s'il vous plaît.
OK, bon.
Merci.
Ah, c'est bon. Vous m'entendez?
Très bien.
OK, super. D'accord, merci beaucoup. Oui, je pense que après la discussion échange entre nous, le 3 là, et j'ai bien constaté, hein, je pense que déjà aussi par rapport au propos de Joyce et puis Noël, là, que l'implication de la communauté locale, la population, est vraiment important par rapport à la mise en œuvre d'un projet. Et pas uniquement, ça facilite la mise en œuvre, mais surtout que ça permet aux gens de reconnaître aussi leur savoir-faire, hein, leur manière aussi que on n'a pas forcément toujours, on a toujours la tendance à l'époque d'écouter les spécialistes, les experts qui viennent d'ailleurs. C'est ce qu'ils disent, on écoute et on essaie de comprendre. Or, normalement, c'est les gens qui sont dans l'endroit, ils sont leur savoir-faire traditionnel. Ils ont leur expérience empirique que maintenant, je pense que de plus en plus dans les autres projets, ça ressort. Je pense que ça, ce que je retiens bien, c'est que tous les financeurs aujourd'hui doivent vraiment prendre en compte l'importance de cette, la mise en avant, hein, de la population locale, parce que c'est avec eux, c'est eux qui sont vraiment comment dire, l'origine des idées, des envies, des attentes. Et c'est grâce aux associations et structures avec lesquelles ils confient, ils confient vraiment ce travail-là avec ces gens-là. Et ça permet d'aller vers la réussite ou les succès. Et ça reste pour eux. Ce n'est pas comme les projets auparavant. Il y a des projets, quand les porteurs du projet partent, et tout part avec. Il n'y a plus rien qui reste. Et c'est toujours ça, c'est l'échec. Et maintenant, de plus en plus, je pense qu'il y a vraiment la prise de conscience des structures comme les associations autres, qui a vraiment bien travaillé avec la population. Et là, il y a quand même le succès est là, la facilitation pour faire le travail est là. Et les résultats, évidemment, c'est pour eux, c'est eux qui vont vraiment bénéficier le plus longtemps possible. Et ça permet à eux aussi d'avoir d'autres choses. Là, les cas sur nous, là, le travail qu'on a fait, aujourd'hui, il y a d'autres attributs qui travaillent avec nous avec d'autres projets. C'est grâce au travail qu'on a fait, c'est le résultat des bestes. Vous voyez? Et ça, c'est pour nous, c'est énorme. Hein? Et qu'ils voient, parce qu'on a donné un espace, parce que nous, la base de travail, c'était rétrocertation, et qu'on les crée un espace pour que les gens puissent s'exprimer eux-mêmes, et en plus à leur langue. On dit que la langue fait partie de l'identité culturelle d'un pays, d'un peuple. Donc, du coup, ils s'expriment mieux avec leur langue, et c'est en fonction de ça qu'ils arrivent à montrer à quel point ils ont envie de faire quelque chose. Et c'est vrai que les associations ou d'autres qui arrivent à comment apporter des aides, qu'on puisse travailler ensemble, vraiment une bonne symbiose pour qu'on puisse avancer. Donc, c'est juste là, je pense que ça, c'est véritablement, c'est que moi, c'est le travail qu'on fait aujourd'hui, c'est vraiment ça, c'est basé par rapport à l'implication de la population locale ou la communauté locale. Voilà, c'est ce que j'ai envie de partager avec vous. C'est ce qu'on a retenu par rapport à la discussion, les échanges très riches entre nous, parce que les projets sont différents, mais le point commun, c'est que il y a l'implication totale de la population pour que le projet se réussisse. Voilà, merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Léon, très clair. Très important l'engagement de la communauté. So very important to talk about the engagement of the community. So now, if someone would like to add points, please feel free to add on the chat, because we are a bit on time now. So if you can send your contribution also through the chat, it's very welcome. And if you want, you can also add this on the Google Doc. I'm trying to take some notes while you talk, but you also can add your inputs. For example, if Evia, Monique, or Sandrine, or Matilde, feel free to just add your contributions in the Google Doc. What stay with you? So now I'm going to invite Marie. She is the lead for Panorama Solution at IUCN, and she will share with us a little bit of what is Panorama Solution and how we are going to work with this. Just for colleagues to know, we are going to share the PowerPoint in English and French. So you don't need to take notes, just take attention on Marie and she will guide us through. Marie, take your time, no need to rush, okay?
Thank you. Thanks, Maria Fernanda. I hope everybody can see the screen.
Yes.
Great. So this is the only time during this session that you have to look at a PowerPoint, but I promise I'll make it quick and hopefully engaging. I would like to start introducing you to an initiative called Panorama, which is very central to this whole capitalization journey. And you'll learn more about it as we go along. So I won't talk about all the details in today's session. Panorama Solutions for a Healthy Planet is a knowledge and learning initiative of IUCN and other partner organizations. And the Panorama approach to learning and exchange is really integrated into the design of this capitalization journey. So for example, we will use the case study template of Panorama to document experiences or solutions, positive experiences from your projects. And by the end of the whole journey process, we will have these case studies available, hopefully, as publishable products as an outcome. So throughout the journey, you will gradually learn more about the Panorama approach, about this case study format. And today, I am just going to focus on the idea of solutions. What is a solution in the sense of Panorama? And what is a good solution? So as you can see here on the slide, by solution, we mean a specific aspect of your work or of a longer term initiative, a project that was done to solve a particular issue, problem, or challenge. It's a pretty broad definition. Very importantly, it's usually not an entire project with all its activities, but only the successful elements of that. And I put some examples from the Pacific on the slide, just to give you a first flavor of some solutions that we already have on the Panorama web platform. So you get a first idea of what could be topics and the overall framing for such a case study. We have three very broad criteria for what constitutes a solution. The first one is around thematic relevance. So the solutions we are looking for respond to challenges in nature conservation and sustainable development. That's the overall thematic scope of Panorama. And they contribute to maintaining or improving the health of biodiversity ecosystems and the services that these ecosystems provide. We're also looking for solutions that really address conservation and development challenges in an integrated manner. And we heard in the breakout groups that I think for many, or if not all your projects, that's really the way of working. Looking at in a very closely integrated manner at socioeconomic as well as ecological objectives. The second criterion is around impact. So the solutions provide a successful approach to problem solving, and they ultimately have an impact on global policy agendas such as the Sustainable Development Goals or the global biodiversity targets. And they really demonstrate how these global goals and targets can be achieved on the ground. And they provide ecological, economic, as well as social benefits. So we often get the question how we actually verify the impact of these solutions. And the answer is we don't verify it for a number of reasons. One reason is that solutions are not like research results. So they cannot be independently verified because it's very much a matter of perception. What was a successful approach, and whether that really was a shining success story, or maybe it actually created new problems somewhere else. So there can be different opinions about that, and there's no wrong and right many times. Another reason why we don't verify the impact is because Panorama is really about peer-to-peer knowledge exchange, as opposed to some sort of top-down verification or certification. And it's up to the users to decide themselves what is useful and what isn't for their particular context. And another very practical reason is that we simply wouldn't have the time and resources to visit every single one of these projects and carry out some sort of full evaluation of impacts. Then the third criterion, which is really more sort of a thinking guideline, is around the potential of elements of the solution to be applied at a broader scale or in a different geographic, sectoral, or social context. And so elements of the solution can be replicated or scaled up. And that brings us to the question, what is not a solution? If it's really complex, it would take a long time to explain, then it's probably not appropriate to try and describe what you have in mind in one single case study, but maybe that's actually material for several case studies. Also, things like publications or reports, research, certifications, networks, products, and people would not necessarily be a solution case study in themselves. However, they could be really important as raw material in the case of published materials, sources that you can draw from when you write up your case study, or something like a network or a person who was maybe a local champion. They might be really important components of the solution, really important success factors. Panorama connects what we call solution providers with those potential replicators for mutual learning. And it is open for anyone to share their experiences. So the role of Panorama is to provide a neutral platform for exchange. The solution providers, especially if they're representing really grassroots organizations, benefit from a high level of visibility and promotion that we can provide to their work through this initiative, which has its own external communications tools, and then through the partner organizations, IUCN and the others, we can really amplify the visibility for these cases. But the solution providers also benefit from a guided process of reflecting on their lessons and documenting these lessons in a very structured manner. So we're supporting them in going through that reflection process. And of course, with this capitalization journey, we're doing that in a way that's extremely in-depth and goes way beyond what we normally do through Panorama. The solution seekers, on the other hand, can use Panorama to find inspiration for designing new initiatives or new projects more effectively by building on things that have worked before. They can also use it to understand trends and to support decisions with real-life examples and evidence from the field. So on this slide at the bottom here, you have some logos, faces, and some quotes from just a small selection of our solution providers to give you an impression of that network and the diversity. And the key message here is that really anyone can be a solution provider. You all are solution providers. There's no project or organization that would be too small in inverted commas or too specific. It's really about sharing the knowledge in an accessible way, but that's sort of the only filter. And then there are the criteria I had on the page before, which, as you saw, are extremely broad. So then let's move on to thinking about what makes a good solution case study. We have quality standards that we apply, and every draft solution that comes to us is being reviewed by subject matter experts before it is being published on the Panorama web platform. So today, I just want to give you a quick overview of these quality criteria so that you already have a first impression of what you should bear in mind when you start writing up your case study later on, and what the reviewers normally check for. In the process of our capitalization journey, we will have an integrated process of documenting your solutions and reviewing them at the same time. So this will not be an additional step, but instead we will actually support you very closely throughout this journey to make sure that by the end of the process, by the end of our workshop in Nairobi, your solution case study meets all these criteria and is an excellent and well-written, well-framed knowledge product that we can publish. So just to quickly run through these quality criteria, They include very obvious things like have all the mandatory sections of the template been completed? Is all the information in the correct place? Have all the right tags been assigned? We have different types of tags. Is the language clear and understandable for an outside reader? And have we avoided redundancies between different sections? Also things like are abbreviations properly explained, specific terms as well, technical terms. And then we take a close look at the description of the actual process. And there's something called building blocks, which are the key elements of the process. We will learn more about this later when we start delving into the template itself. So these building blocks that are part of the process description, they need to be well defined, well described, and there shouldn't be a gap in terms of explaining in a logical way how the overall successful outcomes were achieved. Then there's also a section in the template that is called the story. It's not a mandatory section, but if a story has been provided, then this should be inspiring. It should provide a different perspective of the solution that is more personal, and it adds value to the technical description of the case study, which is contained in the other sections. There's also the possibility to add additional resources, links, materials like photos and videos. So all of those should be of good quality, and they should further enrich the description in the text. And then finally, it is important to make sure that all relevant institutions and individuals who were centrally involved in that particular case need to be or are acknowledged before we publish. So just before my presentation, we had a session in the groups where we did some storytelling. We shared very freely and openly and in a non-structured manner some success stories from the projects. So now how do we move from such a general storytelling approach to actually identifying and documenting solutions in the sense that I just talked about? One aspect that is important is to find the right balance between being specific, including specific details that are helpful for an outside reader who's not familiar with the context of your work, but at the same time staying general enough so that it is meaningful and inspiring to someone else who's maybe based in a totally different geography. Panorama is a global initiative, and it's really about supporting learning across geographies very much. And of course, when we all get together in Nairobi with people from many different countries and in different regions, we will hopefully see this play out in action. Another point that's important to bear in mind is that there might be a mental shift that we need to make in terms of thinking about projects with their activities and outputs and indicators to thinking about solutions that we were involved in. And from that, once we have some clarity on the framing of our solution, we can start to think about these reusable components or building blocks that made up the success story and that were really critical. So just a word on learning from failure as opposed to learning from solutions. Panorama focuses on the idea of learning from good practices, but learning from failure and understanding how an approach was adapted because maybe it was initially not successful is of course equally important. And there will be space for that as well in this capitalization process that we're going through. And then my final slide is actually a little task for you to reflect on before we meet again in about 2 weeks, next to next week. So I would like to kindly ask you to have some first thinking about a possible delineation or framing of your solution story. And this can be based on what you shared earlier in the groups. So you can discuss it also with other people from your teams who were involved in the project as well that was funded by the grant. And just try and have some first idea about what is the solution story that you would like to share and that you would like to work on and document through the capitalization process. You don't need to write anything down yet. You can, of course, look at some examples on the Panorama platform if that's helpful. And then we really look forward to hearing about this in the next online session. Thank you, and back to Maria Fernanda.
Thank you very much, Marie. If you have any questions, you can also use the chat using like 3 question marks and send to Marie or to everyone so she can clarify on the chat. Now I will invite Raul to speak to us a little bit of how to get prepared for Nairobi. So the next step of the travel, getting prepared to reach Nairobi for the presential in-person workshop. Raul, over to you.
Thanks, Maria. So, colleagues, this information is equally very important. First is with regards to the hotel, the venue where we're going to have this meeting. We are all going to stay in the same hotel where we will also have the meeting, and it's going to be held at Winster Golf Hotel. In the chat box, you will find the link for Winster Golf Resort. I understand the way it is. We are block booking for accommodation. If you have some specific requirements for accommodation, anything, please consult your regional focal points, your coordinators, and let them know about those information. In terms of your flights and visa letters, if you have not yet received a proposal for your flight and a visa letter, again, please contact your regional focal point to let them know that you need a specific visa letter. This may also include if you are flying via certain country which requires transit visa, especially, for example, those who are flying via Australia or New Zealand from the Pacific, then you might need an Australian visa or a New Zealand visa. Otherwise, the visa for Kenya as well. Now, your focal point will help you and assist you to get these things sorted for you. Please contact them. Also, we are coming to the workshop, so it's not just talking. You need to do some work as well. We'll listen to you, we'll let you speak, but to make it more interactive and to making it more effective, please bring your laptop and all the grantee documentations that you have. If you have photos, videos, materials produced, any reports, log frames, all these project materials that you have, please bring them over, because those information would be very useful during our discussion. Also, please do note that there are certain requirements for power electricity supply. If you're getting your laptop, your mobile phone chargers, or anything for that matter, you come prepared for it, because you will need a special adapter. So if you don't have a wall travel adapter, then you can always grab it from one of the shops at the airport, or try to arrange one when you are in Nairobi. Please also make sure that that you participate in the photo competition if you have the opportunity to do so. If you have been taking photos, so I will just repeat, if you have, for different grantees, if you have been taking photos of different projects and activities, you can submit those photos as part of the competition during the workshop. The exposition online will happen, and then we will be voting to declare the winner, which will be during the celebration cocktail in one of the evenings. And I think that is on the 5th of May, which will be a Friday. So if you have got some nice photos of the activities of your project activities, you can submit that, and then it will be displayed online through an exhibition, and then we'll be voting for it, and the winner will be declared during the cocktail on the 5th of May, which is a Friday. Also, you are all invited to provide us with a testimonial about the most significant change made by your project. Now, that testimonial will be recorded in Nairobi, but you can start thinking about it You can put some ideas around it, and then we will have our colleagues there in Nairobi to record those videos for you, and the video would be made out of that. Apart from that, if there's anything else, for example, if it's to do with your test, COVID test or anything, if you have been vaccinated, you don't need to take a test. If you have not been vaccinated, then you might need to produce a COVID test. Also for any other similar vaccinations, whether it's yellow fever, malaria, anything for that sort. I think the information note, please pay attention to it so that you don't get stuck when you're traveling to Nairobi. We wish you all the best, and we will see you again next week. Thank you so much, Maria. Over to you.
Thank you, Raul. Again, if you have any question, either you send by chat or send an email for your focal point. So now, colleagues, we are moving for the end of our first session, and we are very curious to hear from you how are you leaving our first meeting today. So to do our checkout, likewise we did our check-in, please write on the chat on the Google Doc your name and the one thing that caught your attention the most in today's meeting. You can choose one word to represent what caught your attention. So pour les collègues francophones aussi, il faut choisir la chose qui a plus retenu votre attention lors de la session d'aujourd'hui. So take 1 minute, think about the whole step we did today, the first day online, and choose one thing that caught your attention the most in today's meeting. You can share on the Google Doc. Alex, maybe you can copy again the Google Doc if colleagues forgot the link, please. Let's take 1 minute to share what took more your attention here. Okay, colleagues, if you finish, you can read the contribution of other colleagues in the Google Doc. I can also share for the colleagues who are using the chat. It's very nice to hear that you find this useful, effective, interesting, innovative. Very important to put the knowledge from the local community on the spot and find the balancing between the local knowledge and the science, and the experience in the field. The solution, which is maybe a methodology new for many of you, the collaboration that you can do. Very, very nice. If you can finalize your contribution here on the chat while we are closing the meeting, so we are right on time. I think the last message is that we are very thankful for your participation and presence today. We hope to see you in 2 weeks' time. We are going to send an email for all of you. Likewise, we send this week to remember our call. I think next time will be on Thursday or Wednesday, if not wrong. Depend on which country you are located, right? And we are also going to share through email the Google Doc, the recording, and don't forget the homework, the small homework. Get some time to think about Mahi's suggestions on delineation of your story. And if you have not more questions, I would invite everyone to open your camera. Open your microphones, and you can say bye to everyone, to all participants, new colleagues now, maybe in your own language if you want. So I will say bye-bye, ciao, hasta luego.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao pra todos.
Motemanda from Fiji.
Au revoir tout le monde. À la prochaine.
Obrigada.
Au revoir.
À bientôt.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Muove,
Sulam.
Merci beaucoup.
Bye.
muove via, muove
Bientôt.
Chane. Muove Rahul.
Great to hear from you, Kasanga. Thank you for joining.